Get this question a lot. What is the best type of habitat, artificial or natural? Get to the answer in a minute, but let's talk about the pros and cons. Pros of artificial, or pros of natural, like we have right behind me, it's usually highly available, it's usually on site, oftentimes free for the landowner if you got it on your property. One of the things we use a lot of are cedar trees. We put out thousands of cedar trees a year. That's a nice thing, that you're trying to remove cedar trees in a lot of parts of wildlife habitat for management. We love those things in a lake. You put them in now, so that's the pros. They're usually easy to find, easy to get. You might need some bigger equipment to get some of these bigger pieces in a lake, but generally pretty easy. We do a lot of work with folks in 5, 6, 7 foot tall cedar trees that you can just pick up by yourself, put on the back of a four-wheeler or whatever you're doing, pick up and do it all by hand without equipment. So pretty cheap, pretty easy, and great habitat. Particularly in the early stages, these root wads, these brush piles, cedar trees make great structure for, and most of the habitat we build is to protect small baby bluegill. This is great nursery habitat. Cedar trees for the first year or two are great nursery habitat. The downfall of using those types of habitat is their usefulness, their effectiveness as habitat for small fishes declines pretty rapidly after years 2 and 3, such that by years 4 and 5, we're already replacing that habitat. And what happens is all the small stuff, all the small little branches where the interstitial spaces are high, where a baby fish would hang out, this decomposes pretty rapidly. So after a year or two, this is gone. After a couple more years, the bigger things are gone. So by year 5, we just have this root wad here. It's still okay, a big predator will still use that, it's still useful, but the usefulness to a small fish, we've lost a lot of that utility that we wanted out of the habitat. Same thing's true on a cedar tree. Year 1, the needles fall off. Years 2 and 3, the smaller and smaller and bigger branches. So by year 4 and 5, you're left with the trunk and a few pony branches sticking out of it. Still useful to a big bass, but we've lost most of that utility for baby fish, and that's what we were trying to do in the first place. So pros of artificial: easy to get, usually on site, pretty easy to deal with. The cons are it doesn't last very long. You got to refresh it every 4 to 5 years. Now, artificial habitat, on the other hand, it's kind of the opposite. A little more expensive up front. You got to pay. There's several different companies. They make good habitat. There's several good companies out there. It costs more money up front to get the habitat, get it shipped to your pond. Once you're there, you put it together. But once it's assembled, you have the same utility as you have with the new cedar trees or brush piles in a lake. There's quite a few studies, and we've seen this a lot, that the first couple years in a lake, these two types of habitat work very similar. They're both very useful and serve the need we have for small fishes in particular. The nice thing about this stuff is year 5, year 10, and who knows how long, this stays the same. This is recycled plastic. It should last theoretically for years and years and years. You don't have to replace it. It's kind of like investing in a lake. You put some money in, and that return is going to last you quite a while, versus the brush piles where you might get 4 or 5 years out of them. You're going to get, some of the structure will outlive me in a pond. So what's the answer? Which one's better? Depends on site location, depends on budget. The truth is, I use them both whenever I can and whatever else I have. The most important thing is a diverse type of habitat. Diversity is good, so we use them both all the time, but both of them work by themselves. Just kind of depends on your application and the budget and your timeline.